All right, hey, welcome back to iNotch Tuesday. I'm Nick iNotch. I sure appreciate you tuning in every week. I think it's been a year now we've been doing these weekly blogs, and it's been a lot of fun. Thanks to Cycle World for doing it. This is a video on a very cool motorcycle sitting next to us, and my buddy Brian Smith. And Brian, you got the chance to live a dream, order a bike custom. How did it all come together?
It came together by me seeing a couple of versions of this motorcycle at an ARMA race. And I was very intrigued by them and went up and asked the guys who built them what they were and what the deal was on it.
Brian was doing track days. He's got dirt bikes, he rides dirt bikes with his son, street bikes, supermoto bikes. He really enjoys motorcycling and started getting into track days pretty heavily. And you built up a nice 996 Ducati. We all love that. But
yeah, I did love the 996. It was a cool bike. Just something that was a stopgap for me. I came from the car world back into the motorcycle world, took a Yamaha champion school and was pretty hooked on the motorcycles again, and came here to New Jersey Motorsports Park to an ARMA race. Saw a couple of versions of this bike through a sea of other motorcycles and said to myself, I have to have one.
Walk us through this NickPaulSmart. What size is the engine? What kind of horsepower does it make? And what modifications are in this one that you ordered?
This is a 2007 Sport Classic chassis done into a NickPaulSmart, and it has the full Olin suspension. It has a fairly stock 1000cc Sport Classic motor, roughly 90 horsepower. It does have an ECU in it and some mapping that Chris put in it, and a Shift Tech exhaust on a Termi pipe.
Very good, and you're running on Pirelli slicks, and this is the first time you've had it out. We're at an N2 track day. It's lunchtime, and you've had a pretty good time on it so far, huh?
Yeah, it's just a blast. It's funny as a rider on a new bike. There was a lot of information overload for me. I had a number of things to kind of sort out on the bike. I told Nick I had to find my place in the sun, which was essentially to find my spot in the bike, on the bike, in the seat, what my position was going to be with my feet on the foot pegs. So there was a lot of stuff to work out. So I was in a bit of an information overload, but I was lucky enough to have somebody to do a little bit of lead follow with me.
Yeah, it was good. I had a good time so far. I had a chance to race a New Blue, NCR New Blue, back at Daytona with Larry Pegram, and when that New Blue was introduced, and it was a NCR version of this. So, of course, my next question is, can I ride your bike?
Absolutely. Right. You've ridden everything else on the planet. You might as well take this one.
Let's go take a look at this thing. Hey, the last time I rode one of these, I cartwheeled it, so just,
well,
just kidding.
You may just own a NickPaulSmart at the end of the day.
I'm ready.
Okay. Oh.
Let's switch right here.
Center switch, pretty standard. No good, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty good, Brian. That is pretty good, guys.
That Chris boy.
You know, two things that really stand out is, first of all, how rideable a bike is when you first get on it, right? So by the fifth corner, my knee was on the ground, right?
Wow.
So that it's just so rideable, telling you stuff like, let's go. And then the second thing I always look for when I get on something like this is that, well, I don't look for it, but it happens. I start to want to shift at race shift because it's so good, you know?
Sorry about that one.
You get in that mode where the bike is just so edgy that you want to start shifting at race shift, but I didn't back shift it, but you want to,
Yeah.
because it's just ready to go. So that was a joy. I was in the rev limiter once because the thing is making good power, and I just wanted to keep revving it. That was pretty fun. And I'm using all the gear on the front straightaway. It wheelies over two. I mean, it's just really fun, really fun.
Yeah, that's funny. Chris begged me to go GP shift,
Yeah.
and he had this little phrase that his dad used because he built a bike for his dad as well, and his dad calls it double throwdown. Double throw. I don't want that double throwdown shifting, and so that was my phrase.
Yes, stick with that.
Yeah, that was a little bit too much for me to handle. So.
Well, you street bike ride, you dirt bike ride with a regular shift, so it's good to keep it that way. And it was fine. Same in SZ1 in street. You got a Dynajet quick shifter on, which I loved.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was neat. Neat stuff.
Yeah, he really did a great job. I have to tell you, during the build, I made a specific trip down to Fort Lauderdale to a shop to static fit it, and he allowed me that opportunity, which was part of a custom build that you don't often get and don't often think of. But ever since the control surfaces bit, I always thought that, look, if I have an opportunity to get this set up by the guy who's building it exactly the way I want it, then it's going to come out of the box in a lot better condition.
One thing I noticed is that it's stiff enough you can put a real load in it. You know, you can really get the thing loaded up, and that comes from, I mean, Chris Boy's racing history and the amount of time he spent at speed. He knows the setup, and it come out of the box just like this.
Pretty much. I made a few adjustments. I switched up the tires, made a couple little tiny adjustments, but pretty much out of the box like this.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah, he's got a wealth of information regarding these bikes, and he is a really accomplished racer on them.
Yeah. Man, what a fun iNotch Tuesday this one has been. This is a fantastic motorcycle. I'll tell you something kind of funny. Rob Chiclo said, yeah, I'll film you. He got on one of our Yamaha Champion School FZ1s, Olin shock Q3s, set up pretty well, goes pretty good. And he said, well, how fast can you go? It's only got 90 horsepower. And this thing just works so well that 90 horsepower, you're getting every little bit out of it. So that was kind of funny, and had to wait on Rob a couple times just because the bike is so good. And it's like I told Brian, it feels like a race bike right from the get-go. So congratulations to Chris Boy and Motocorsa. They just do an awesome job down there in Florida, and in their racing and in their building. This iNotch Tuesday was a chance, yeah, to ride a really neat motorcycle, but also to kind of show you, the dreams that we can do in this sport and industry. And Brian Smith, he's a guy that kind of brought himself up by his own bootstraps, and has a painting and coatings company that his family owns, and he's made that thing work. And the payoff was he can afford a custom bike. So. To put a bike together just the way you want it, with the exact parts and the exact people building it, is really a joy for Brian, and it's good to be Brian's friend because I got to ride it. So iNotch Tuesday, I appreciate it. We'll see you next Tuesday.